Hey everyone, welcome to my very first online yoga video. I'm so excited to be doing this and I hope you are as well. This will be a quick hamstring release class. Be perfect for after a run or after a hike, or if you just have chronically tight hamstrings and want to release them a bit. All you'll need is one block, ideally two, but if you don't have two, it's okay. And if you don't have a block, you can use something like a block, like a book, if you own a book. So let's get started. So we're going to begin seated. You'll take your block, stretch your legs out in front of you. This is one of my favorite ways to just warm up the legs really quickly. Take the block to the middle setting, place it right next to your left knee, bend your left knee, slide the block underneath your knee, and then slide it up a little bit so that the edge of the block is about halfway between your knee and your butt cheek. If you can, it's a little bit difficult to do in this position. Reach back, grab your butt. Takes me a few times. Grab it and pull it back and up. Tent your fingers on either sides of your hips. Then you're going to squeeze your quadriceps muscles, those are the muscles in front of your thigh. And you're just going to push the thigh down into the block really strongly until you feel those muscles engage. Now, if you have a cork or a wooden block, this might hurt a lot. I have a foam block, so it's not too bad. But if you have a cork block or harder block, you can put a blanket or something over top of it to kind of lessen the impact of driving it into your thigh. So now as you push the thigh down and squeeze the quad, you'll slowly begin to straighten your leg. And the first thing you'll notice that as you start to straighten the leg, the upper body wants to sink back and down. But do your best to squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back and lift your chest up. Now, one of the main roles of your quadriceps muscles is to straighten the knee. So the more you use your quads, the more the back of the thigh will release. Try to breathe. Try to keep the chest lifted. And then also notice if when you try to lift your chest, the back of the head drops. So keep the back of your neck nice and long. If you notice your legs starting to quiver a little bit, it's not just you. This is pretty intense. It's great work for building quads as well as releasing your hamstrings. And then release. Slowly take the block out from underneath you. I always like to have people who've never done this before feel the difference side to side before they go to the second one, so that you can really feel how much the back of the thigh releases very quickly and effectively when you do this. So then we'll go to the other side. You start with the block underneath the knee, but then slide it up about halfway. Reach back, try to pull it up and back. Now, if you've got really tight hamstrings, you can start with the block at the lower setting as well. And so the leg is only lifting a little bit, or you can go right to the middle setting. And again, before you try to lift the foot, push the thigh down. Because if you try to lift your foot, you'll end up using your hip flexors more than actually getting your hamstrings to release. So again, squeezing your thigh, pushing your thigh down into the block. A lot of teachers use the language, press your thigh back towards your hamstring, widen the back of the hamstring. This is kind of the idea behind that movement, using your quads to extend the back of the leg and move your actual femur bone more towards the hamstring side of the thigh. Now, depending on your proportions, if you're a little bit less tall and you have a block at the middle setting, your hip might pop up to straighten the leg. Try your best to keep the hip down. And if you're, again, tighter in your hamstrings, you can also lean back. The more you lean back, the less intense this becomes. Oh. All right. And then slowly release. Take the block out from underneath you. Place it to the side. We'll come back to that. Then we'll lie down on our backs for a few moments. Oh, God. Sorry, I really like lying down on my back. Stretch your legs out. And then you're just going to hug your left knee into your chest. Interlace your fingers right where the block was a few moments ago, halfway between the knee and the hip and the hamstring. And then I want you to, before you straighten your leg, push your thigh forward into your hands, and then start to extend your leg. There's this common misperception that the closer we pull our leg towards us, the better the hamstrings stretch. But actually that often pulls the thigh towards the quad side of the leg as opposed to actually getting the hamstring to release. So if you can push your thigh into your hands as you straighten your leg, you'll probably have a little bit better luck with getting the back of your thigh to release. And as much as you're pushing your left thigh into your hands, push your right thigh that's on the ground down into the floor. The back of the thigh won't actually touch the floor because you have something called a butt, and that will never change, hopefully, right? So the back of my thigh won't touch the floor, but I'm pressing it down as if it could. And then I'm going to switch sides. Hug the right leg in. Then when you hold the back of your right thigh again, try not to pull the thigh as hard as you can towards you. Instead, push the thigh away from you as if you were pushing it into a block. And as you push the thigh forward, slowly extend your leg up. I don't know if you can see my bottom foot. You know me, I'm not very technologically savvy, but my bottom foot is there, guaranteed. Now as you push your thigh forward into your hands, activate your feet and breathe. Sometimes people who have shorter arms and longer torso, really tight legs, have to crank their shoulders and head up to hold the back of the thigh. If that's the case, you can use a shirt or anything to hold the thigh so you can relax your head and shoulders down. They shouldn't be doing any work at this point. It should all be in the legs. All right. Then go ahead and release. Sit up. Come forward onto your hands and your knees. Place your hands outer shoulder distance, tuck your toes, and stretch your hips back. All right. So again, there you are. Again, focusing on the hamstrings, start by taking your feet wide, bend your knees a little bit, push into the floor really strongly with your hands, and reach your hips back. Now, one of the things that people often do on accident when they root the thighs back is they just push the knees and lock the knees out. So instead of just pushing your knees back, squeeze your legs as if you're pushing them into the block like we did at the beginning. And as you press the thighs back, it's almost like you're resisting yourself. And slowly begin to straighten the legs. Keep the reach of the hips. Then bring your feet back in a little bit. Inhale, come forward to a plank pose, high push up. Lift your hips a little, lift your thighs a little. Push into the floor. And then exhale, go back downward dog. Bend your knees, reach your hips back. Squeeze your quads, press your thighs back into imaginary blocks to open the backs of your hamstrings. Keep pressing down and forward into your hands. Then walk your hands to the back of your mat. Take your hands to your hips. And slowly come on out. All right. Oh, it's hard. I hope you're breathing. Okay, let's keep going. Now, interlace all the fingers except your pointer and thumb. I'll go ahead and turn to face you. You don't have to do this. Just stretch the arms up, squeeze the arms into the ears, and then exhale, side bend over towards your right, so your left ribs stretch open. And then inhale, come back up to center. Exhale over to the left. Shift your hips to the right. Inhale, back up. One more time. Exhale, side bend to your right, hips to your left. And then inhale, come back up. And exhale over one more time. I think someone told me the Sanskrit for this come back up is Indudalasana, if you care. All right, step to the front of your mat now, if you aren't already. Separate your feet a little bit. We'll just warm up with a couple of sun salute variations before we continue on our hamstring endeavor. Inhale, stretch your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold to the ground. If your hands can't touch the floor, just for now, bend your knees a lot until your fingertips touch the ground. Don't let them dangle. Inhale, look forward a little bit. Then exhale, step your right leg to the back of your mat. Lower your right knee down to the ground. Keep your back toes tucked under. Inhale, stretch your arms up to the sky. Turn your palms forward. Let's get into our shoulders a little bit now. Bend your elbows. Squeeze your shoulder blades into the back of your chest. Lift your chest up a little, but keep the back of your neck extending as well. Then inhale, take your arms up, hook your thumbs and squeeze your elbows into your ears. Exhale, release, step all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to a plank pose. Pause here, lift your thighs, hips, shift forward, bend your elbows and lower to the ground. Point your toes, inhale, cobra. Hug the shoulder blades back, press your feet strongly. Exhale, tuck your toes, reach up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg into the sky. Exhale, step your right leg forward, lower your left knee. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Again, turn your palms, exhale, bend your elbows out to about 90 degrees. Squeeze your shoulder blades into your back. Lift your chest without letting your head drop back. Ah, God, that hurts. Don't let that happen. Don't let your head drop. And then inhale, arms up, hook your thumbs, and then exhale, release your hands down. Step forward to the front of your mat, come to a forward fold. All right, separate your feet a little bit, bend your knees, and now we're going to do a variation of chair pose that I call awful chair. So take your hips low, and then I want you to take your elbows in front of your knees, not on top of your knees. This makes a really big difference. With your elbows in front of your knees and your palms pointing up, pull your elbows back against your knees to lengthen your chest forward like a back bend. So unround your upper back. So from here to there. Notice when you do that, this will want to happen with the neck. Keep the back of the neck long. Then keep your chest extending forward, push your butt back, squeeze your quads and straighten your legs maybe 6 inches. Don't let the upper back round for now. Keep the chest extending, keep pulling your elbows back. This is really hard. I don't usually have to do this and talk the entire time, but this is fun, right? And keep the back of the neck long. Then put your hands on the floor, straighten your legs, fold it a little bit more. Inhale, now stand all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands by your side. All right, second side. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold to the ground, forward fold. Step your left leg back this time, lower your left knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your elbows back to cactus arms. Try to find your shoulder blades into your middle back. Inhale, reach your arms back up. Hook your thumbs. And then exhale, hands down. Step back, downward dog. From downward dog, inhale, shift forward to a high push-up. Watch the dropping of the hips. Keep your hips lifting. Keep the chin lifted, but the back of the neck long, and then bend your elbows, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. I hate up dog, I don't do it very often, but by all means, if you like it. And then exhale, downward facing dog. My arms aren't really long enough for up dog. And last one, inhale, left leg up into the sky. Exhale, left foot forward between your hands, right knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend, squeeze your shoulder blades into your back. Inhale, arms up, hook your thumbs. One more time like this. And then release your hands down. Step forward, forward fold. All right. Again, keep your feet about hips distance or even a little wider. Bend your knees. I'll back up so I'm in the frame. This will get less clunky as I go along, I swear. Or not, we'll see. Take your elbows in front of your knees. Same thing, pull the elbows back, extend your upper back. Try to get the upper back to open, back of the neck long. Lift your toes. Now push your butt back. Squeeze your quads. Well, they're already squeezing. They can't not be here. But push your thighs back into imaginary blocks. Raise your butt up, up, up. Keep pulling your elbows back into your knees to get your upper back to extend. Upper back to extend. Now see if you can keep your upper back extending, but put your fingertips on the floor without rounding it. This is Ardha Uttanasana, or half forward bend. Then, depending on the length of your hamstrings, press your thighs back again into imaginary blocks. Slowly straighten your legs, back of the neck long, upper back extending. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's very hard. Now exhale, walk your hands back and fold in. Inhale, arms up, stand up, and exhale, hands to your sides. Boy, I'm gonna have to get someone to do this for me while I teach them, because man, this is hard. So if you want to be a model for my online classes, just let me know. All right, here we go. A few more hamstring things. Inhale, arms up to the sky, and exhale, fold to the ground. All right, step back to plank pose. Lower to the ground. Once you're on the ground, reach back, interlace your fingers, lift up, locust pose. Then release, rise up to cobra, or again, up dog, if you have long arms. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. From downward facing dog, step your right leg forward to a lunge. Now if you have blocks, put your hands up on blocks. If you don't, it's fine. It'll just be a little bit more difficult to approximate the stuff that we're about to do. Okay. Now lift your back hip. Push your hands down into the blocks or the floor. Look down at your arms and then turn your biceps forward and your triceps back. And like we were doing in Ardha Uttanasana and chair, try to get your upper back to extend and keep the back of your neck long. Then squeeze, push your right thigh back. So again, this is all about rooting our thighs back. Straighten your right leg about 6 inches. Walk the blocks back a little bit. Again, extend the upper back of the neck long. And then maybe you straighten the leg all the way. But what I want you to prioritize for this class is not getting the leg straight. Sometimes we talk about that. Getting the leg straight, that's important. But tonight, or this morning, whatever time you're doing this, I want you to prioritize keeping your upper back extending as you slowly straighten the leg in and out. As you straighten the leg, keep turning your back hip forward. Left hip forward, right hip back. Breathe. This is a variation of pyramid pose. It's a little bit nicer with the back heel lifted and a slightly longer stance, I find. And then inhale, rebend your right knee. And then we'll just take a twist. Keep your left hand down, twist your right arm up to the sky. Oh. And then release. Blocks to the sides, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower. Again, reach back, interlace your fingers. You're a locust pose. Release, rise up to cobra or upward facing dog. This kind of work will help to extend the upper back when we're stretching our hamstrings. And then tuck your toes, reach back, downward dog. Left leg forward to a lunge, hands up onto your blocks. Lift your back thigh. Then push your hands into the blocks, turn your biceps forward, triceps back. Notice here, when we're in the lunge shape, and the front knee's bent, you try to extend your upper back, the back thigh drops a lot. Keep your back thigh lifting as you extend your upper back. Sorry, I'm schwitzing. Oh, gosh. Okay. I always joke in class that I'm not in shape and my practice is lazy, but now you're seeing it. So now as you extend your upper back and the back of your neck, straighten your leg a little bit. Remember, the more you straighten by pushing your thigh back as opposed to pushing the knee back, the more you'll get your hamstring to release. And as you straighten the leg, you can slowly walk the blocks back. Keep your upper back extending. I want you to feel as much work behind your middle chest as in your legs here. Oh. Then as you straighten your front leg, swivel, turn your back hip a little more forward and you'll feel your lateral, your outer hamstring, and even your outer hip stretch as well. And then re-bend your left knee, and we'll take a twist. Keep your left arm up, because it's up, right hand down. Why? I just freaking love this pose, no other reason. And then release, back to downward facing dog. Again, inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower down. Cobra or up dog. And then, oh God, yeah. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, here we go. Inhale, take your right leg up into the sky. Exhale, step your right leg forward to a lunge. Take your hands up onto your blocks again. So in this case, well, in all of these cases, the higher the blocks, the more accessible it is. So if you've got tighter legs or longer legs, or both, higher blocks would do better. Okay. Now from here, step your back foot, your left foot forward a bit. Walk the blocks about, a foot or two in front of your front foot, your right leg, and then lift your left leg up into the sky. Okay. So now we're in what feels like standing splits, but it's not. You're going to want to fold, but you're not going to fold. Keep your standing leg, your right knee bent. Push your hands into the blocks like we've been doing. Turn your biceps forward, your triceps back. Extend your upper back. Your standing knee is still bent. Great. Now keep the extension in your upper back. Lift your right toes and push your right thigh back into an imaginary block to slowly straighten your right knee. But you're still lengthening forward. So maybe some of you are only straightening your standing knee a little tiny bit. That's totally fine. I call this, actually, I don't know. It's like Warrior 3, Ardha Uttanasana, and pseudo standing splits all combined. Squeeze your back leg, push it back, and then slowly step back. Downward facing dog. All right, here we go. Left leg up, and then left foot forward. Hands to your blocks. I'll scooch back so I stay in the frame. And then from here, walk your blocks forward. Hang them onto your blocks. All right. With your left knee bent, push your hands down into the blocks to extend your upper back. If you push your hands down into blocks and nothing happens, try taking them up a little bit higher. Oh, that's so nice. And then push your thigh back slowly to straighten your leg. Inhale out. Okay. Now as you straighten your standing leg, your back thigh is going to want to get lazy and drop, but keep squeezing it and raising it as well. That seems about even side to side. Bend your standing knee and step back, downward dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back bend. I like to hold it and just work my back bends for a second. We'll do a back bend class, I promise. Many back bend classes. And then back to downward facing dog. Now what will feel good after all of those square hip standing poses, if we do a little bit of a squat. So take your feet as wide as your mat, turn your toes out, walk your hands back, and just come to a squat for a moment. It doesn't matter if your heels lift. We're only going to be here for a second. It took me a really long time to be able to do this pose with my heels down. It's actually still quite difficult. Do you think we should even also extend our upper backs here? That's kind of a good idea, without cranking the back of the neck. Yeah, good idea, Sean. Okay, you're gonna watch me lose my brain while I teach. Fantastic. All right, one more time. Back to downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to a plank, and then lower all the way down to the floor. Roll over onto your backs. And then once you're down on your back, place your feet underneath your knees. Separate your feet a little bit wider apart than your hips. Drop your knees to the right. Pick your right foot up, place it on top of your left knee. Then bring your knees back to center and place your left foot on top of your right knee as both knees windshield wiper to the left. Inhale. Come back to the middle and now put your feet on the ground. Put your feet on the ground underneath your knees. Bend your elbows and put your elbows right by your side ribs. Push the elbows down until you feel a lift behind your upper back. The same place, that same work we were doing in our standing poses. And then lift your hips, come to bridge. Keep rooting your elbows down. And then interlace your fingers, walk your upper arms a little closer together. Stretch your forearms and wrists to the floor as best as possible. And then exhale, come on down. And again, we'll do a windshield wiper twist. Drop your knees to the right. Put your right foot on top of your left knee. And then drop your knees to the left. And place your left foot on top of your right knee. Inhale, come back to center. All right, let's do one more thing. Bend your elbows. Start in robot arms. Press the elbows down. Raise your hips up. Interlace your fingers. Or you can stay in robot arms. If shoulders are difficult for you, it's best to stay in robot arms, especially since we haven't done much shoulder work. By the way, never turn your neck in bridge. Never do what I'm doing right now. In fact, I hope you're not looking while you're doing this, because you should be looking at the ceiling. So I caught you. All right. Now you're still in bridge. Walk your right foot a little bit over towards your left foot. Pick your left foot up off the ground. Bend your left knee. Don't straighten your left knee. Lift your hips higher first, then squeeze your left quads to straighten your left knee as if you were pushing your left thigh into a block, like we were doing all the way at the beginning of class. Release your left foot down, place it directly where your right foot is. Peel your right knee up off the ground, right foot up off the ground. Don't straighten your right leg. Instead, lift your hips higher, then straighten your right leg. This is one-legged bridge. And then release. Lower your hips down. And then from here, with your knees still bent, feet on the ground, shift your butt a couple of inches up and over to the right. Then pick your knees and feet up off the floor and take your knees over to the left. This is Jatara Parivartanasana, or twisted belly pose. When you bring your knees to the left, try to get them to a 90-degree angle out to the left from your hips. And then turn your head and chest the opposite direction of your knees. Oh. And then come back to center. First, bring your butt to the middle and then over to the left. Pick your knees up. Take your knees to the right at a 90-degree angle-ish. And then turn your belly and chest to the left. With each exhalation, turn the lowest part of your abdomen. Twist it deeply, 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 deeply from right to left. Then inhale, come back to center. Hug both knees in. I really, really don't like happy baby pose. I'm not anti-happy baby, it just does not feel good on my body. If you like to do happy baby, you can go ahead and do it. This is my happy baby. And then release. A 2-minute Shavasana. Stretch the legs out. If your back ever feels tight, Shavasana, you can slide under something underneath your knees or do another supine twist. Relax your jaw and throat. Feel the softness, the release behind the backs of your thighs. If your pet, dog, or animal or child starts coming over to you at this point, which often happens in Shavasana, invite them to do the pose with you. And slowly bend one knee at a time, roll over onto your side. And this transition is nice because you want to be gentle in how you press up. And come out of Shavasana. thank you so much for partaking in my first, in my first online class. As I've mentioned to many of you who have watched this, I am offering this class. Obviously, it's on a free platform, it's on YouTube, but I am requesting a small donation via Venmo. If it's 50 cents or $1 to support me and my teaching, I would very much appreciate that. I want you to pay what you can afford to pay for yoga, and if that's nothing and you don't pay me for this, I'll never know, and I'm totally fine with it. If you would like to give me half $1, 75 cents, 2 pence, you can find me at Venmo, Sean-Haleen. If you have questions or requests, please message me, please comment. I'm going to create a whole slew of classes that are going to cover everything from A to Z. Yeah, I said Z for everyone international out there. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day /night/morning. Bye.